guys, welcome to Chris the podcast. I am Matthew Farumbi and I'm here with my dad.
Sunny Farumbi.
And yeah, this is another episode. Starting off a little bit sad, maybe a little bit angry, just because the episode that was supposed to go out tomorrow got corrupted, or the hard drive that it was stored on had issues with that. So re-recording the day before this is supposed to go out. But I mean, it is what it is. It's just one of those things.
Right, happens. And I'm sure we can still recover at least the audio from the other one. So
yeah, I saw the audio. I ended up finding that one, but as far as the video goes, it is what it is.
That's what happens with the world of technology, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, I mean, we'll start off again with something kind of light. So Pizza Hut is going for the largest pizza world record. So
also, they're actually going for it.
Yes.
They want, is that like a Guinness Book of World Records kind of a thing?
As far as I know, yeah. I think they said it was previously held by, I think, a pizza company in Italy.
Oh.
And it was about 13,500 square feet. So the Pizza Hut pizza they are going for is going to be 14,100 square feet. And it's going to be cut into about 68,000 slices. Yeah.
Wow. That's impressive. So do they have a few thousand of people who be eating these 68,000 slices?
I mean, I would hope so, but also the issue with that is like, how do you cook it? I think they said they have like smaller. They're cooking it in pieces, of course. But they have like, I don't think there's a way to cook everything at once.
Well, I don't think that will qualify as a world record. If it's a pizza, you have to cook it at the same time. You have to cook every part of it at the same time, I would think. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about cooking it in pieces and bits and then now stacking it together. Anybody could do that, I guess.
No, I mean it's together already, but it's baked in sections.
Oh.
So it's already like the full pizza is already there and then they bake it. So it's not like they're baking individual pizzas and putting them together.
That's interesting.
So yeah, it's baked in sections over several hours is what the
article says. The interesting thing for me though is why? Honestly.
I mean,
when I hear things like this, I think, okay, why go through the trouble? Yes. The name Pizza Hut or whosoever gets in the Guinness Book of World Records, but apart from that, maybe bragging right. Why?
I mean, it's just probably just marketing.
Yeah,
it creates more hype and buzz for Pizza Hut, and then people end up going there. But they said I'm looking at the end of the article here. It says the pizza was donated to several charities. So that's what they ended up doing with it.
So they already had it, and then they donated it to the charities. Where was it made? Was he in North America or somewhere in Europe?
As far as I know, it's in North America. I think it's in the U.S.
Okay.
I didn't really look at the details. I think it says Los Angeles. So yeah.
Oh, okay, in LA. That's interesting. Also interesting that last time, I think it was last time, we were talking about this new AI that creates all kind of thing, ChatGPT.
Yeah, and it's funny you said last time. That was actually the episode that was supposed to come out.
Yeah, that was supposed to come out.
That might be coming out eventually. But we touched on like ChatGPT and OpenAI and what they're doing with that.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, since we use AI, or we can use AI for so many things now, can ChatGPT kind of create this big, humongous pizza?
I mean, pizza
can it be employed?
Maybe not just because it has to be physically made. Anything that's like online or virtual, I would imagine it can. But I mean, talking about ChatGPT, I saw this article and I should have put the link here. But there's a professor that claims ChatGPT passed the MBA exam. So I guess he put in. I don't know if he put in individually each question and had it solve it or how exactly that happened, but he said it passed the exam.
So basically what this professor is saying is giving his or her students the cheat code to pass their MBA exam, right? They can use ChatGPT. Well,
I mean, I don't think he's saying they can use it. I think it's more of like it has the capability to
yeah.
to pass it. And even with ChatGPT, I've seen that it does make simple mistakes and sometimes in math stuff is what I've seen. But in more complex stuff, for some reason, it does super well.
That's actually strange. I would think math is pretty deterministic. I would think math is the area that it would do very well.
You'd think so, but yeah, I mean, like I said, I think I wish I put the link, but I saw something somewhere that it made mistakes in like sixth grade level math issues or something like that.
Okay, I guess
so issues that you'd think would be it'd be able to.
That's interesting.
And it might just be the wording too, because someone has to type it in. So I don't know if.
Well, maybe the programmers who wrote the code did not pass sixth grade math. so whatever mistake they made, they are making it again with the ChatGPT. That's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So should we get into our main topic for today?
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, it's been a murderous weekend, and we are discussing these on today is January 23rd. Mm-hmm. Starting 2 days ago on Saturday. Today is Monday, January 23rd. So on Saturday there was one shooting, one mass shooting in Monterey Park, California. Yesterday on Sunday there were three shootings. Two in Louisiana, one in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, one in Shreveport, Louisiana. And then there was one in Mississippi, in Robinsonville, Mississippi. Mm-hmm. And today, this afternoon, there was another one. There was actually another one in Des Moines, Iowa.
Oh, I think I did see a little bit about that.
In a charter school. In a charter school, they said 2 students were killed and one teacher was injured. It's kind of been a murderous weekend that we have. And the funny thing for me is that actually when I woke up Sunday morning, hear the news of the one that happened Saturday night, it's almost like, okay, another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's another one. So it's almost like we're just becoming numb to this, and that's a kind of scary thing. It's a scary situation to consider that deadly mass shooting incidences like this, we are becoming kind of
almost the norm.
Yeah.
Which, not the best word for it, but it's, yeah.
Yeah, the one in Monterey Park, that's the one that 11 people are dead now. 11 people have been confirmed dead and 9 people injured because of 2 reasons. Because it happens in a dance studio in a predominantly Asian American community, and also because it happened on the eve of the Chinese New Year. Or the Lunar New Year. My first thought when I heard about this was, this is another hate crime. Racially motivated hate crime. But funnily enough, as the details started coming out, it didn't look like this particular one was racially motivated. Because they already found the person that perpetrated the act. He's a 72-year-old Asian American man, which is also kind of mind-boggling. Because from what I heard, the profile of people who commit mass shootings, terrorism like this, tend to be, the median age tend to be in the low to mid 30s, 32 to 35 or something like that. So hearing that the person who did this one is 72 years old, first of all. Secondly, he's Asian American. And some of the news report later said he has actually been to those dance studios because there were 2 of them. He actually went to 2.
Okay.
Yeah, he killed the people in the first one.
I'm not super versed with the details of it. Did they say, or do they know the motivation behind any of it yet? I mean, it's so recent, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Actually, just before we started discussing this, I had on the news uh, the police people in Monterey Park saying that they may never know the motive because the guy is dead now.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
the guy is dead. They found him. They found him the next day in a van. Somebody described the white van that he was driving. They found him in a van. They cornered the van. They stopped the van. And just as the SWAT team was coming out to approach the van, they heard a gunshot. So the guy shot himself inside inside the van. And a lot of things that they found inside the van made them conclude that that was the person. And also because the second place where he went, I don't know if you heard the story, the first place where he shot 20 people, 11 of them dead now. He left that place, and 20 minutes later, he went to another dance studio about 20 minutes away and tried to do the same thing. But they said two people quickly recognized what was happening and they disarmed him.
Yeah, I saw like the article. They interviewed one of the people who disarmed him, and
Yeah.
I didn't get the chance to watch the video before we started this, but I did see that one of the people who disarmed them was being interviewed, so
Yeah.
I knew about that part.
Yeah, so they already know exactly, they know what he looked like. They described the van. So as they were looking around and then they found him next day, as they surrounded the van, he killed himself. So the the police investigating the incident said they may never know the motive behind this because the guy is dead. But a couple of things also came out, and that's why eventually people started to think, and I definitely started to think, okay, this particular one may not be racially motivated. They said he has been to one of the local police stations in the last maybe couple of years or couple of months, I'm not sure, to report that his family was trying to poison him. Something like that.
Yeah,
So it may be a mental illness case.
yeah,
No, it may be due
and
to mental
that's
illness.
I feel like usually typical with any type of no sane person usually shoots up
Yeah.
people, especially people that they don't know, whether it's like racially motivated or people that they do know. So usually I feel like mental illness is always involved in situations like that for sure. So
Definitely. So it looks like maybe those two dance studios that he went to, maybe they were family members. We don't know that yet. Maybe they were family members who are known to be in those places because, like I said, there were reports that he had been to those dance studios before. People were just dancing, that he's been there also before. So it may be some kind of mental illness. It may be maybe some kind of domestic abuse issue that's going on there. But the funny thing is, like I said before, most time when we hear things like this, we usually immediately jump to it's racially motivated, it's hate crime. But when you look at this specific situation and see what happened, you can see that situations like this can be brought about by, like you said, mental illness or just someone who is just angry and they don't know how to channel that anger properly. I heard another report that said he is known to be from his former wife. I heard that also a couple of hours ago. They talked to his former wife, and the woman said that he's known to be always quick to anger.
okay.
He's always quickly angry. And that was what got me thinking about handling anger. How do we handle anger when we're angry? And anger is the most common the most common human emotion, I think. Most of the time when we are angry or any kind of emotions at all, we tend to blame other people. Or we tend to blame, maybe not other people, we tend to blame external circumstances.
Yeah.
Something outside of us. It may be other people, it may be your hard drive, whatever happened to it. Maybe you say it didn't drop or something.
Yeah.
You don't know that it dropped something. It could be anything that happened. But usually anger comes because of how we are responding to that external thing. But what I found out, especially with my courses that I teach on emotional intelligence, is that a lot of these things come from our own belief system. It comes from inside of us. It's how we respond, or in most cases, actually react. We don't respond, we tend to react because of our belief system, because of our past experiences. Our belief system is formed from past experiences, life experiences, things that we have learned over time. In fact, research says most of our basic beliefs in life, they were formed by the age of 5. By the time we are 5 years old. So what does that mean? That means we acquire them, we learn them from the environment in which we grew up, from home, from our parents, from our guardians, the people around us. And a lot of those form who we are, they shape who we are, and they begin to form our belief system. And the thing with emotions is that when something happens, when that thing agrees with our belief system, we like it. No, our brain, that part of the brain, the limbic system, generates positive emotions. But when what happens does not agree, does not align with our belief system, with what we think it should be, guess what? That same part of the brain generates negative emotions.
Yeah.
It generates those emotions that we tell us, no, I don't like that. And depending on another skill, which is called impulse control, how are we able to control the impulses to do something right away, to react or to respond right away? And I think that's the area where many of us drop the ball.
And I wanted to bring up something you said a couple of times, is the difference. What would you say is the difference between the reaction and then response in that sense?
I would say a response is measured. A response is measured. A response kind of takes into consideration the rational mind.
It's more calculated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, okay. Let's look at it this way. There are psychologists have said there are two parts of our mind: the emotional mind, or the subconscious mind, and the thinking, the rational mind, or the thinking mind. Now, the subconscious, the rational is also called the conscious mind. Now, the subconscious mind, the emotional mind, is the one, that's where the emotions come from.
Yeah.
That is instinctive. We are not consciously engaging it. We are not thinking into it. So, for example, when you do something I don't like, and I'm not taking time to think and evaluate, this is what Matthew did, and these are the reasons I don't like it. We don't do that. Most of the time, it's instinctive, it's immediately. Yeah. We see something, immediately we think, that's not good, I don't like that, right? So we're not thinking through before we decide whether we like something or not, before we get angry or not. It just happens. Right. So that comes from our emotional mind. So that is a reaction. That is a reaction. But when we allow the conscious mind, the rational, the thinking mind, which is our prefrontal cortex, when we allow that to come in, and we do not act on the suggestion of the emotional mind, because that's another thing that part of our mind does, or our brain does. It generates emotions. It interprets, first of all, when we experience something, it interprets it using the belief system in us to decide whether we like it or we don't like it. And then we don't like it, it generates the emotions, and it also suggests a behavior. Yeah. It usually suggests a behavior to back it up. And we have many people who flare very quickly, who get angry and act out very quickly. Or they get into trouble is that they latch on and they act on that suggested behavior very, very quickly without thinking through it. But somebody with a high level of the skill, emotional intelligence skill called impulse control, that has a high level of that, they are able not to react right away. They are able to allow the rational side, the rational thinking part of their brain to come in, to think about the situation and to evaluate what the emotional mind wants to do, quickly, the reaction. and be able to evaluate that and say, is this a good thing? Should we do this? If we do this, what would the potential consequences be? Things like that. And research actually says that it takes the rational mind between 6 to 8 seconds to be able to properly do that.
Okay.
But for the emotional mind, they said everything that happens and when we act it out, when we react, it can be less than 1 second, very, very quickly.
Right.
So the problem is that gap between the 1 second and 6 to 8 seconds to allow the thinking part to come in, to think properly, to respond. So when we do that, that's the response. We're able to respond instead of just reacting in the moment.
Okay. Yeah, and I think the two things that I think stand out the most is the difference between those two is one, just time, and then two, I don't know what the right word, either intention or just like being more self-aware of realizing what you're feeling and then taking that time to be purposeful about how you're going to react or in this case respond to that situation, I guess.
No, I think you are right. But the funny thing is this, at least from my own experience and a lot of research I've done over the years and teaching this course over so many years now, is that it's not just something that you decide you are going to do without doing something. It's not just something you say, okay, I'm the type that just gets angry very, very quickly and then suddenly I'm just going to flip a switch and then I don't get angry anymore. No, it doesn't happen that way. And here's the funny thing about it. People who are like that, after maybe something happens, they get angry and they act out, they do something, then they regret it later. That's because the rational mind, the thinking mind, has now been able to evaluate and decided, that was a dumb move. You shouldn't have done that. Or the result of their reaction was destructive. Maybe like in this gunman, something just tripped him, and it went on a shooting rampage. When they see the outcome of it, then they realize, oh, maybe I should not have done that. So it's not just flipping a switch. It's a gradual process. It's a gradual process of every day using the thinking rational mind, which is the one we can control, using that every day to remind the other one. And I'm describing this, it's a kind of a thinking process, it's a thought process that needs to be intentional, that needs to be happening almost on a daily basis to be able to rewrite that code in the emotional mind that tends to make you jump out and react suddenly and do things. I think that's probably one of the things they do with anger management. When people go for anger management classes to know how to quickly either channel the anger towards more productive things. And I know here, I've not seen anybody, but we've seen on TV where people would just get angry and punch the wall and throw their own thing. And my thought is that this is your stuff you are destroying. They will take their own computer and smash it, take their guitar and break it or something. And I'm thinking, you are breaking your stuff. You are still going to have to pay for it, And so one way or the other is destructive, and we have to find a way to get over it. So for me, and one of the reasons I think we're discussing this is that, apart from the hate crime part of it, we see an instance here where this guy, we believe is not motivated by hate, but he snapped.
Well, maybe not racial hate, but
yes, it's not racially motivated. It's still kind of hatred towards members of his own family, maybe, members of the same ethnic community that he's from.
Right.
Yeah, so I guess it's still hate. So we see people doing things like that. That because most of the time when you hear of mass shootings, most times your mind goes to something that is either racially motivated or there is something about that group that you don't like, so you want to go destroy them.
Right.
Something like that. And it's a cautionary tale. It is a cautionary tale for all of us, because whether we like it or not, we are all prone to anger. We are all, yes. Some of us may be able to control it very well. Some other people may not be able to control it that well, but every human being, if you have blood running through your veins, we get angry.
Right.
And what we do with the anger, how we handle the anger is a very, very important thing. So for us personally, also for people around us, family members, because when you see people, when you know people who may have the tendency, you don't know, may have the tendency to go commit and act like this, and you know that they have a short fuse, they are short-tempered, maybe that's that's a kind of make a mental note to keep an eye on them.
Yeah, but also with tendencies, I think you kind of mentioned it before. Some people have the tendency to get angrier quicker than others, but sometimes those same people will be like, "Oh well, that's just the way I am," and will use that as an excuse not to either work on that or get better in that sense. So it's definitely still on the person to acknowledge that and then make sure they're just improving themselves to be better for sure.
Oh no, definitely, definitely, and I like what you said, because some people may just say, it's just who I am, just who I am, just you take it or leave it, and those are the ones I think either they have not seen the destructive nature of it. And here's the funny thing: it doesn't even have to go to the extent of being resulting in mass shooting like this one. What most people don't realize is that anger, when it's expressed in a volatile manner, can destroy relationships. It can destroy relationships. It can cause people who are supposed to love each other to go their separate ways just because one person is not able to probably get a hold of their anger and control it, or kind of at least temper it, so that they are not lashing out. I've seen people, I've known people, when they are angry, they're out of control.
They're almost basically a different person.
Yeah. They will say things. They will say things that are incorrect. I've seen that. Where if the anger is directed at somebody, let's say if I'm angry at you right now, and I have a tendency to just embellish things. I start accusing you of things that you are not guilty of. And I've seen that, where they will say you are this, you are that, just because they are angry. And I've actually been in situations where I had asked the people, and I said, no, this thing you are accusing this person of, is that what you actually think? And they'll say, no, it's just because I was angry. No, I didn't really think that, but it's just because I was angry and I was just saying it to hurt them.
Yeah, there's like there's a terms like sometimes all the people see is red. Like when they get so angry, they're just blinded so much by the anger that they say or do almost anything just to, in that moment, get back or say whatever.
And like what we're saying, that's very, very destructive. Yes, it may not get to the level of killing people in a dance studio, but it's very, very destructive to those personal relationships. And that's where every one of us needs to watch those. We need to watch ourselves. And I've also seen people who think they can, when they cool down, they think, okay, I can deal with this. I'll do better next time. But like I said earlier, this is not something you just said, I'm going to flip a switch and do better.
Right.
Because the next time the opportunity comes, guess what? You are going to act exactly like that. Some people need help. They need help from professionals, from other people to help them. And some don't want help. They want to cover it up. They don't want anybody to know that they have this particular issue. Maybe it's happening only at home. They don't see it outside, and they're destroying their relationship at home. And people don't see that. So that's why I think it's important for every one of us. We want to be able to make sure we have better relationships with our family members, with our friends, with people around us, that we get a hold of this kind of outburst, this anger that's it can inflict anyone.
Yeah, and also talking about the flip side of that, because like you said, anyone who anyone in general should definitely be able to take ownership of their tendencies, but also people who are close to that person should be able to realize that and maybe push them to make better decisions or start working on that too.
Yeah.
So the external side of people around who notice things like that, being intentional about it. Like I said, if you're close to that person, telling them, hey, maybe you need to start working on this better, and constantly reminding them to do that will definitely help as well, I think.
That is true. That is true. The only downside with that is that it depends on the people.
Yeah,
people who are like that.
Yeah, it still comes back to that person to own it and still take that that step in improving themselves. But like I said, I would think if you're close enough to someone, you'd.
Oh, definitely, I agree. No, what I was actually trying to say is that when you are the one that's close to them and you are trying to push them or nudge them constantly, after a while, they may start getting angry at you. Mm-hmm. And what you are trying actually to prevent, you may actually be on the receiving end of that hot anger. And after a while, what do? Mm-hmm. You may just say, you know what, I don't want that.
Distance yourself.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I agree with you. Mm-hmm. We should not do that, but that can cause people to just stay away because they know, okay, I don't want to incur their anger because I've said it, I've tried so many ways, but after a while they just get angry because whether we like it or not, most people don't like to be corrected. Mm-hmm. We do not like it when somebody corrects us, even when we know they are right. So those are the kind of things that it's a delicate issue, but I think we can.
There's only so much that other person can do if the person getting angry constantly is not taking ownership of.
Yeah, that's right.
Of their reactions, but So I mean, in closing, is there anything else we wanted to bring up regarding that?
Well, I think we should just, like we discussed, keep an eye out, not just for people around us who may be prone to anger, who may want to come and commit this kind of atrocities, but also those who may not go out shooting people, but the anger and the outbursts can also destroy relationships and also within ourselves. So you and I need to check ourselves and say, am I the kind of person that reacts this way? What do I need to do? Do I need to start working on this and begin to work on it as much as we can?
All right. Well, guys, this has been another episode of Crisp, the podcast. As always, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. We have the video form. Be sure to give us a like, review the podcast. And we'll see you guys next time.
All right.